In my last video, we saw how to record sales and expenses. What happens after sales and expenses are recorded? The manager of a firm is able to see those sales and expenses and see if the company is making profit or not. How do we keep track of that? That takes us to the dashboard. So this is where the manager or the firm uh, manager or firm supervisor or anybody that will be assigned to review the firm sales and expenses will actually work. You click on the dashboard, you will be presented by the search screen. As you can see, we have search for a category. Which sale are we looking for? We have payment, cash or bank. We have the different expenses. We have the expense type, and we have the dates from to, and then we have a salesperson here. So to proceed, usually all you'll need is maybe you'll be searching for the sales between January 1st to 31st, 2024, and you click search. So once you do that, the system will show you all the sales for that month. So this would be the total right here, total sales. And then as you proceed down, then you will see the expenses. And this is the expenses. So right here we see that we are making a loss of 46 million. Depending on the situation, it might not be a loss or it could be a loss. But in this case, we're actually brooding. So we are not making any money, but we are spending more money to brood the next batch. I also want to point out that besides seeing that, you will be able to filter out any expenses that did not actually go into the feeds directly. For example, if you bought 100 bags of feed, but between these dates, your flock only consumed 50 bags, this is where you will be able to filter that expense out by clicking overall total out and search again. The system will present you with the same sales, but the expenses will be different. As you see here, there's a total loss of 93 million. What is causing that is the system. If you have expenses within the 1st of January to the 31st, let's take an example. You bought 100 bags of feed, but maybe your flock only consumed 90 bags. That means you have 90 bags of feed left. However, how about a situation that you only bought 100 bags of feed, but in the previous month you had another 100 bags of feed and your flock consumed 190 bags of feed? That means that even if you did not buy the extra 90 bags of feed within this month, we are telling the system to tell us only the feeds that were consumed. Doesn't matter which feeds were purchased, but we are looking at the feeds that were actually consumed by the flock. And that's why that's where this filter comes into play. So if by the 1st of January you had 100 bags and you did not buy any other bags of feed, and maybe your flock consumes 200 bags of feed, you probably have a balance of feed from the previous month. That means much as you did not buy 200 bags of feed, but your flock consumed 200 bags of feed, this is where this filter comes into play. And I can elaborate on this further for those who will subscribe to our system once it becomes available. But it gives you a detailed report on the expenses that pertain to only the feeds that were consumed alongside the other expenses that are not feeds. It is important to know exactly the feeds that were consumed, because the fact that you buy feeds for your farm doesn't mean that they get consumed. What if these feeds were stolen? What if your flock is sick and they consume less? Doesn't mean that whatever you bought should account towards determining whether you're making profits or not. Because if the feeds that you bought were not consumed, it means if you're calculating your profits, you should add those feeds back into your profits because they are still existing and they have not been utilized. I hope I explained that better, but again, I'll dive deeper into that checkbox for those who will subscribe. I'll give you the training and understanding that you need to use the system. With this dashboard, the manager or farm owner is able to see. If you only wanted to see how flock A performed, you're going to select A or B or C depending on your search, depending on the reason why you're searching. But you have all those options at your disposal. If you look further, if we want to see only payments that were made in a bank, this is where you will select bank transfer and then you'll do a search. You see there is nothing that was paid in a bank, just because most of the payments in Uganda or Africa are actually cash based. If you go to the cash, you will see that almost all the sales were cash based. Okay, I hope that this gives you an idea. And this is the dashboard that a manager has access to. Your employees won't have access to this, so it's either the manager or the farm owner. This is your dashboard. You want to see if you're making profits or not. You want to see your monthly sales. You want to be able to make decisions based on this data. And all this information comes from the sales and expense entries that we saw in the previous module. Okay, I hope I explained this module, and I'll see you in the next one.